we're going to present things that might be just a little tight on the controversial side or questionable, but you're going to see the information that shows where it comes from. Kurt is he is president of the National Autism Association of West Central Illinois. He's also is a child and family advocate for the West Central region of the state. He writes and distributes a weekly newsletter about autism, vaccine issues, is politically active in the local, state, and national arena, and I can vouch for that, and so can his mother, regarding autism issues, and is contributing writer to the Autism File magazine, an international publication. You betcha. So with that, let's bring Kurt up with a round of applause. This will change your slides.
Okay, I can do it right here.
Whichever way you want.
The only reason I'm president and my wife's the vice president, it's not a man thing, it's the fact that the president has to talk publicly more, and my wife doesn't like to talk in public very often. So I offered to give her the president position, but she wanted me to do it. We're here to talk about autism. First, I'd like to thank Dr. Zamelka and Stacy and HY-VEE and all the other speakers here. I want to let you know that what I'm going to talk about is controversial. I'm not going to go off on some of my tangents, but it is something that we have to look at. If we're going to look at the causation and actually how to fix these kids, we cannot disregard something that is so important in the actual problem with autism, and what we're talking about is environmental toxins. If we don't look at that, we have so many people out there that don't want to look at this issue. You're not going to get your kids better if you don't look at all the issues and look and weigh all your options. So I'm just asking you to keep an open mind here, and you know, I'm not here for a popularity contest. I'm not running for office. What I'm here for is the same thing y'all are here for, and that's these kids. That's my passion.
Go downstairs.
Okay.
We'll go downstairs, Dad.
So what we're looking at here is the typical thing. We're looking at genetic or environmental. Okay, what is the cause of autism? I personally believe it's a combination of the two. Okay, I really do believe that. What we're looking at here is there a possibility that some kids are genetically predisposed to the environmental toxins? Many autistic children have been shown, and I would say the majority of autistic children are shown to have a metallothionein deficiency. That could very well be a genetic problem. We have parents that have these genetic deficiencies, and you turn around, you pass it on to your child. What's changed is the amount of toxins in our environment. Okay? Metallothionein is what our body uses that enables our children and our bodies to get rid of heavy metals, toxins, pesticides. That is how God intended for us to keep our bodies clean. Now, for quite a while here, autism syndrome has been considered brain disorder. Okay, the syndrome definitely manifests itself in a way that would be consistent with a brain disorder. What we have found, many doctors, parents, and the general public have mistakenly considered it. Like I said, it manifests itself. In 1911, that was when the term was coined, autism. It was coined by a Swedish psychiatrist. Okay? Autism, auto, means self, one. It's a world where you're in your own little world. You're not looking at the outside world. The term was coined by a Swedish psychiatrist to associate it with an adult mental schizophrenia. Okay? It wasn't until 1943 when Dr. Leo Kanner started looking at children in their own little world and coined the term autism as we know it today and put it in as a diagnosis. What we believe and what DAN doctors, Defeat Autism Now doctors have found out is that autism is a whole body disorder. It just manifests itself in the brain because that's how you act. But what we have found with most children is it is primarily a gastrointestinal problem. Okay? Now, your gastrointestinal problem, your stomach issues, as Stacy I'm sure will agree with, what you put into your body, what's going on in your stomach affects your health in every situation. Mental, your illnesses, everything. Your gastrointestinal, to me, is the center of your body, okay? And what we're finding out here is that all of these kids that are autistic have problems in their guts. Now, the question is, how do we fix it? Enzymes, supplements, you name it. But what we have to address here is this is not a mental condition. Simple therapies like that will not work if you don't get your kids feeling better. The therapies are absolutely important. The ABA therapies, the floor time. But if your kids feel like crap, they're not going to want to learn. Okay? When you start feeling better, or if you have the flu and you go to work, you're not going to be up to capacity. You're not going to do your job the way that it's intended to be done. Same thing with these kids. If these kids just feel horrible inside, they're not going to get as much out of the therapy. We get the gastrointestinal fix, everything else falls in line, and these kids can start catching up with therapies. All very important therapies, by the way. If you have a question about how the gastrointestinal tract, your stomach, your innards, right, your gut can affect, how could it affect a kid like that to where he's just screaming and banging his head in the wall and all those issues that we have with our autistic children, what I would suggest is go down to the HY-VEE liquor department and buy a bottle of whiskey and take about 7 shots of whiskey and tell me if what you put in your stomach doesn't affect your brain. Okay? That's what we're talking about here. These kids are sick in the gut and it's affecting their brain. What's the problem? What's the major problem that we're seeing with autism? We have a huge rise in autism. So what's changing? It cannot be just the diagnostic principles that these doctors are using to go from 1 in 10,000 kids to 1 in 150 kids in the course of a decade and a half, 15 years. Okay? So what is the problem? What has changed in our environment? And my personal belief is it's toxins. We live in a very toxic society. We have the foods have changed, the vaccines, the other medications we give our children, the antibiotics that so many of our children, because they have had ear infections, are taking huge courses of antibiotics, which takes the gut flora, the beneficial gut flora, right out of our kids' bellies. So then when we have these toxins, what do we have missing in our gut? We have the good stuff that is supposed to help combat these toxins. We've lost it. So it allows these bad toxins to create their own environment in the gut. Okay, that's what we're running into.